Hi there guys, my name is Saints99 and I'm bringing you yet another tutorial for Dust 514. I'm doing this on behalf of 7 Gaming, and as you can see at the moment we are in the Mercenary quarter. The first thing you'll notice is when you start the game, depending on which race you choose will depend on how your Mercenary quarters look. One thing that remains constant no matter which race you choose are these accessible consoles. Now the first one I'll access, as shown here, is the Marketplace. Marketplace is fundamental because you'll notice that you'll need to replace equipment, weapons, armour and vehicles that you lose within battle, and also once you have the skills you want to improve that which you use. Now the first thing I want to show you is the militia drop suits. These are the cheap alternative to drop suits. You can purchase large quantities of these and therefore you'll earn enough ISK in order to never run out of these. The next thing I'll show you is equipment. As you can see here, this uplink that I'm highlighting has a blue square around it. This means it's a blueprint, which is very key because you'll never run out of this no matter how many you have. And therefore you can purchase this using Aurum, the yellow purchasable currency, which you can purchase through Marketplace also, or through PSN, but it is very expensive. The next things I'll show you is, as just shown, the turrets and now the modules. These extend the capabilities of both your vehicles and your drop suits over and above that of your skills. The next thing I will show you is the leadership boards. Now this is where you can compare your stats globally. As you can see here, the top guy here has quite a lot of kills. The next one you can see is the corporations. Now this is where you can compare how 7 is doing to various others. And the final one is to see your contacts. Now at the moment this character, like your characters will have, has no contacts. Now once you join 7 there are various members of which you can add to your contact list, like a friends list, and therefore you can compare your stats. Now you'll see that you can compare kills, kill to death ratio, war points and win to loss ratio. These are all key stats within the game and therefore you can compare them to the various other gamers that play Dust. The next important thing I'm going to show you, and probably the most important thing in the game, is your skill points section. Now skill points are fundamental because they define how you play. Now if you want to be a sniper, you'll define your skills in such a way that will improve your capability to do so. And the same goes for vehicles. Certain vehicles will only be accessible once you achieve certain skills. Now I would suggest you get into game before you use any of your skill points, simply because you want to learn how you're going to play before you use them. Once you know how you want to play, you can define your skill points in order to fit that manner. The next thing I will show you is the vehicle fitting. Now the vehicle fitting here, as you can see, you can add high powered and low powered modules and also weaponry. This is an LAV, this is a light attack vehicle, and I'll go through the sort of fittings further on and in a later tutorial. The next thing I'll show you is the star map. Now the star map was in the closed beta, however they removed it and hopefully they're bringing it back because it actually shows the entire EVE universe under one map. Now this is another important section. This is the battle finder. Now as you can see there are 3 different types of battle that you can join. You have ambush, which is your standard team deathmatch. You have skirmish, which is conquest. In this you fight to protect your dropship, your major dropship, your MCC as it's called. You do this by protecting nodes, which happen to be objectives. You will also find there are going to be turrets. You can have railguns, missiles or blaster cannons, and you'll also find CRUs and ammo resupplies, so you'll be able to clone respawn or you'll be able to resupply your troops, and therefore it'll be key to hack those. And finally is ambush IMS, which is effectively your team deathmatch. However, you also include the turrets, in which I previously mentioned, which change the way the game is played because you have to use various other tactics rather than those you normally use in team deathmatch. Now key to Dust is the fact that you will need to be working as a team. The game is more fun and you'll find it far more rewarding if you work as a team, and that is what the game promotes. Finally, the last thing I'll show you is the drop suit fitting. Now drop suit fitting is key because this is your character, this is what you're going to wear into battle. Now depending on the class you choose will depend on which starter fit you're given at the beginning. Because I chose sniper in the previous video, you'll see here that I have the arbiter starter fit. Now this is a sniper drop suit, which you'll see has quite ineffective armour as such and not brilliant shields. However, he tends to be very quick, has a lot of stamina, which means he can kind of run away from enemy, and that's the point of him. The high recharge rate of his shields means that he can take a couple of hits and then run away. It's to get to a higher spot and therefore snipe his enemy. In order to ensure that you're not outgunned as such, so for example a sniper here would be very ineffective against a tank, Dust has given you various other starter fits using the Assault Militia kit. Now these starter fits include your anti-armour, as shown below. Now your anti-armour carries a swarm missile launcher, which is an anti-vehicle weapon, and the first thing you'll notice is that he has slightly different armour. It seems to be a little bit stronger than the Scout, a little bit better shields, and he also seems to be slower and have a lowered shield recharge. Now each of the 4 different types of drop suit will be like this, but you'll also see that amongst these 4 assault suits, their stats change and are dramatically different simply because of the modules they use. And this is the importance of modules, because the better modules you have, the more PG and CPU, which I'll explain in a later video, the better your character will be when he's in battle. And therefore your aim is basically to improve your character to such an extent that you can field far more effectively against your enemy. Now you can create a new fitting using the armour you found or you purchased, or the armour you were pre-given at the beginning of the thing by doing this. And finally, the last thing I'm going to tell you is how to access this all without actually having to walk in a map. And the point of this was to show you what each of these were, so that if you want to go and access them you can. But the one way of doing it is press L1 and you access your Neocom, which as you can see has various different options, from Battle Finder all the way down to your corporation to even system settings, which are going to be important as I'll show in later videos. Now this Neocom, it makes it far more easy. You can use this within battle as well if you need to replace stock. As you'll see here, the first one is Battle Finder. You'll see that you've got your characters, so your character info, you've got your skills and your augmentations. Augmentations will be key to a universal voice transmitter, which I'll explain in the next video. You've got your fittings, so you've got your drop suit and your vehicle fittings, so you can access all in one there. You've got your marketplace, so you've got a marketplace and assets. Now, depending on whether you use ambush or skirmish, will depend on what sort of loot you can achieve and what you can find. Now, loot can include rare equipment or weaponry that you can use as long as you've got the prerequisite skills. Next is your social section, so you've got your chat, your contacts, your mail and your leaderboards. Now as you can see here, I've already received a mail. Now every single one of you who have just started the game will receive this form of mail, depending on who leads your little corporation or your beginning bloodline as such, will depend on who's written the email, but it's all very much the same. Now I'm going to simply delete this because I've read it before. However, it's up to you guys. You are more than welcome to read it. It adds to the sort of storyline to Dust. Finally, the last thing is corporation, and this leads nicely onto my next video, in which I will go on to explain how to establish your voice chat and how to join 7. Thank you for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and I hope it's helped, and I look forward to doing more for you in the future. Goodbye, guys.